Hey guys, welcome to episode 7 of Who's That Entrepreneur. Today we have a special guest with us all the way from Arizona, J.X Soto. J.X is he runs basically two of my favorite podcasts, the Timbo Sugar Show and the Red Hawk Recap. He also has his own podcast, his own clothing brand. He's a jiu-jitsu purple belt under Tim Welch, Sean O'Malley's head coach. And we're gonna talk to JX a little bit about everything. He's gonna just fix that intro if there's anything wrong or if there's anything he wants to add, and then we'll start it off.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, that's good. Sums it up pretty well.
Yeah, that's it. I got it down.
Yeah, that was perfect, honestly.
Okay,
How
perfect.
do you
Yeah, I feel
pronounce
like
your
I've
name?
been following you.
Is it Gino or
What was
Giant? Is
that?
it Gino? How do you pronounce your
Gino,
name?
yeah,
Yeah,
Gino.
Okay,
Gino.
Gino,
And
yeah.
I'm Sam.
Sam. Okay, nice to
So
meet you guys. Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you too, brother. I've been following you for a long time. I suppose when you came into that podcast years ago,
Mm-hmm. The Timbo Sugar Show
um,
one.
and you've been kind of, I suppose, I've been following you since the the Timbo Sugar Show. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so the first question, JX, I wanted to know about product. So basically you do it interesting, you do drops and
Mm-hmm.
you make the website basically, you know, disappear in between. So is that just because of production, or is that like why are you doing that?
It's a little bit of like a hybrid of trying to build a supply or a demand for my stuff, and I think it's easier for me to do it that route because when I do drops, it's also like a pre-order. So it allows me to kind of give me a head count, obviously, of like how much stuff to make rather than over making stuff and overspending. And also, like it goes back to building that the
supply and
site's only
demand.
open for 3 days. Yeah, exactly. And it's been working. Like every drop, I get more and more people like hopping on as soon as I say, hey, the site's live. Like I get my most sales in those first 3 days. So it kind of gives me, yeah, like the profit money up front and the money to produce everything up front. And it just makes me yeah, not overspend really. It just like benefits me overall. Like, and it's been working, and I'm just gonna keep doing that route for now.
So you're never going to be sat on a large
Yeah,
inventory, essentially, by doing
Yeah,
it that
I
way.
mean, I don't think so unless like I'm prepping for like a big event or something, or if like there's kind of like that, I don't want to always keep it that way where it's like, man, people kind of get annoyed of like, man, I can't ever get it, like kind of giving up on trying to get it in a way, because I see
Hmm.
the other brands where their demand is maybe too high and they're kind of not keeping up with it with their the people, I guess, so trying to find that perfect balance
Yeah.
of that route.
yeah, and you've got a good mix. So you go kind of, if for anyone who doesn't know, I suppose your brand basically is streetwear and jiu-jitsu. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it's a hybrid of both. It's hard to kind of box into. I don't want to be known as just a jiu-jitsu brand or just a streetwear brand, but it's for sure in that world, like I would
Yeah.
say.
And do you find then in the gym, you see a lot of guys wearing your gis and a lot of guys wearing wearing your rash guards and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's pretty trippy, like I'm grateful to have, good like a good support system, especially here in Arizona, and especially my teammates, like they just naturally are drawn to it, and I feel like because I can connect obviously with the jiu-jitsu community because I've been in it for like the past 5 years, and I bring that kind of that streetwear more stylish approach to the jiu-jitsu clothing because I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of jiu-jitsu brands, even the ones that are just jiu-jitsu brands, kind of make like in my perspective, it's kind of cheesy almost, and it's just not cool, it's missing like that cool factor. So, and
Yeah,
I feel
it's
like
kind of
that's what I'm
goofy.
bringing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I get that. And then so in regards to some of your clothes and stuff, you've been like your product has been shown on like UFC embeddeds and stuff like that, hasn't it?
Yeah, it
That
has.
must
Yeah.
have been that must have been pretty nuts. I know
Yeah,
you
it's pretty
probably see
crazy.
because it's obviously with Tim and Sean, you see them every day, but it must be cool to know the amount of people that will see it on an embedded, for example. Like,
Yeah, and I think it's all organic too, you know. Obviously, for people that don't know, you know, Tim and Sean are like some of my closest friends now after working with them for the past couple years, and I never like force my clothes on them, you know. It's just sometimes it's just natural. Sometimes they'll compliment me on the stuff that I'm
Yeah.
wearing, and obviously I'll give it to them. And I'm not like, hey, can you please wear it? You know, it just happens naturally. Obviously, like my stuff is good quality and it's comfortable, good design. So, and they just wear it, you know. And yeah, it's pretty cool to see it like on the embeddeds and stuff like that. And even from that, I feel like I've gotten other UFC fighters that I never met, and they just are drawn to it, and they reach out to me. And a lot of times, obviously, you know, like either they'll buy it or I'll just say, hey, like send me your address, I'll send you a care package. And it's everything's been going organic. You know, I'm never really like reaching out to people like, hey, can you wear my stuff? Please, please, like I'll pay you to wear it. It's just all been organic, which is I feel like the best way.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. What when you say other UFC fighters, you mean guys like outside Arizona, so guys from different parts of America and stuff like that?
Yeah, I have a like I want to say his name's Sean. I think he's a lightweight UFC. His name's like Sean. His name's also Sean. Let me look him up real quick. I think his last name starts with a W. But he reached out to me and on randomly, you know, and it just happened to work out. I sent him a care package. There's a lot of UFC fighters here as well.
Yeah.
Um, that are always like same thing. They kind of just compliment my clothing and same exact thing. I'll give it to them, you know, like Kyler Matrix Phillips. I don't know if you've seen him. He's a bantamweight
Yeah,
too.
Kyler Phillips. Yeah, yeah.
I always give him stuff, and he's always wearing my stuff as well.
And he's pretty cool. Like he's pretty fashionable anyway, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
This other guy,
yeah.
Sean Woodson, he's a UFC featherweight. I think his last fight was a draw, but before that,
Okay.
he had a couple wins and same thing, just organic, you know, just reached out and yeah, it's been kind of cool. And I feel like it's crazy to think because I've been doing the brand for a couple years, like probably going on 5 years as well. But like the
Yeah.
past 2 years is when I really got into more of like the jujitsu kind of fight wear, I guess, and it's been going good, just all organic, really.
And are you
That's
designing
sick. And
a
then
lot of
so
this stuff yourself? Are you designing it personally, or how are you designing? Do you have a team of designers, or is it kind of you have the final say on what happens and what goes in, or what way you're
Yeah,
kind of working it?
yeah, it's a kind of like that. Like a little bit of everything where obviously I have the last say in, you know, what drops and what doesn't. But I work with probably like two or three designers, other designers outside of myself. And the way I work is kind of like I'll either do like a little shitty drawing mock up, and the actual like people that know how to work the programs way better than me, they'll kind of bring it to life more. And we'll just kind of go back and forth critiquing like the designs, and then we'll do it that way. So I work with probably like two or three other designers that get it done for me. But at the end of the day, like you said, I get the final say
Hmm.
on what goes out. But yeah.
the how many drops would you try to do a year? Would you be trying to do like 4 or 5, or would that be a lot?
No, I mean it depends, you know, because sometimes a drop, I could put a lot into that drop where it could be in a lot for me. Like I'm independent, right? I'm a small business owner, so it's like I can only do so much right now.
Mm.
So I'll maybe drop maybe anywhere from like 3 to 6 items per drop. But I try to drop every other month. So
Oh yeah.
at
Okay.
least six drops, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's the goal. I'm trying to kind of drop more stuff, but you know, still kind of keep. I don't want to oversaturate. You know,
What you're doing?
my yeah, exactly.
And then in regards to full time, so let's say obviously that's your main business, and then you work for I don't know if I'm saying that right. You work for Sean O'Malley and Tim Welch and you're their producer for their podcast. Is that correct? That's the
Yeah, exactly.
term.
Yeah. So I
And so
produce
you
both.
do their
Go ahead.
editing also.
I used to do so I do all the editing for the podcast. I was doing a lot of Sean's vlogs like early on. But recently we hired another video guy on, and he's been doing the more recent YouTube stuff. But for like the past, like I want to say 3, 4 years, 3-ish, 4 years around there. I was doing like all their content, and
And
yeah.
you've probably met some pretty cool people then through that. Besides the two of them, obviously, you see them as pretty normal guys to you, I'd imagine, if they're two of your closest friends. You know what I mean? Like Sean O'Malley is a superstar now, but you've known him since he was not, I guess. Like, but you've probably met. So if you met like the likes of Logan Paul and guys like that, then through the podcast.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I met so many people through them, obviously on the trips we've taken. We've traveled so much together, and yeah, it's been crazy. I kind of like forget all the stuff we've done sometimes, until like sometimes I'll go back on the YouTube videos. I'm like, damn, this was 2 years ago, this was a year ago, this was, it's crazy to see how far Sean's career has came. Because I started filming with him. He was already in the UFC. I think he was probably like 2 or 3 fights in, but he still wasn't as big as he is now. So it's pretty cool
Yeah.
to see like your friend kind of like elevate, even with Tim too, his gym. Because when I started training with Tim, we were in like a little mini garage, like literally like probably 10 people tops could fit in there comfortably. And now he has like a really big, way bigger gym, Monsters in sponsoring them. And now I'm like one of the main coaches there now too. So it's pretty crazy how all of us have just gone up.
Yeah. So you're actually coaching jiu-jitsu also then, are you?
Yeah, I teach twice a week, and then the other days I'm training. So, but yeah, twice a week. Beginner BJJ.
So if you were to say your work life, what is it? So what do you do in a working week? Because obviously you have a lot going on. You're
Yeah.
producing podcasts. You've just started your own podcast, which we'll get to, your own YouTube channel. You're making clothes. You're teaching
Mhm.
jiu-jitsu. And what else? So what's your work week look like?
My work week, I mean, technically, honestly, I feel like my real work days are the days we do the podcast. And those are probably like a full podcast day outside of like, it takes probably like 30, 40 minutes to prep, and then an hour and a half tops of filming. And then after that, I'm looking at maybe like 2 to 3 hours of like editing and uploading.
Yeah.
So I mean, I could do like a podcast day is probably like 5 to 6 hours really. But in that, I'm only doing that twice a week really for the Timbo Sugar Show and the Red Hawk recap. And then I teach 1 hour on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I teach an hour a day. So it kind of like doesn't feel like I'm working those days, because I'm doing what I like obviously want to
Yeah.
do. Teaching
Yeah.
like an hour, nothing, like 30, 40 minutes of drilling. And then after that, I let them roll for like 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So that's like, and then outside of the product stuff, I mean, it's kind of, those other days that I'm super open. I'm usually brainstorming or thinking of, what my next drop is going to be and just curating my next drop. And then I just started my podcast. So those days we film on Thursdays, but the way we have that one set up is it's pretty easy, honestly. It's like one angle, one audio. I sync it, and I have the editing on lock. And it's just like that too is just it's almost effortless.
Yeah.
So
So
I guess
you
that's my average work week, if that makes sense.
yeah. You'd probably like not saying you don't do work, but everything you do, you really enjoy it, and you've managed to curate a life for yourself where every single thing you have to do is something you want to do, which
Yeah,
is a pretty unique
exactly.
situation to be in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm super grateful and blessed, especially, I mean, it's taken me a while to get to this place, obviously. And I've worked so many jobs before that, but it all happened slowly.
Yeah.
And I'm still at the point, it's not like, I don't know, I guess I've realized like you don't have to be crazy like balling or rich or whatever to kind of get to this point, as long as you're kind of smart with your bills and yeah, what you set up your bills and stuff, like I think a lot of people mess up and they try to I don't know, they think they have to have the best car in the world. They think they have to have the most luxury lifestyle. As long as you kind of just keep your lifestyle like at a minimum, I think anybody could get to where I'm at.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
seems to be like a major issue when you're worldwide at the moment. People's expenses are just way higher than what their income is, and then you're dealing with people that are going bankrupt and having lots of different financial issues. Like, so that's when you end up in a life that you don't want to be going down.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you guys ever read or if you know this guy, Naval. He's been on like the Joe Rogan pod, and he has a book out. And there's a part that stuck with me where he's like, where people mess up as soon as they start getting more money, they want to upgrade their lifestyle as well.
Yeah. Lifestyle
You know what I
inflation.
mean? So it's
Yeah,
like, dude,
I thought I
yeah,
had the book beside me here, the Almanac of Nevada Ravikant. I
yeah,
have
yeah,
it somewhere.
that one.
Yeah,
I love that book. I've read it like probably 3, 4 times now.
yeah, I've read
But
it 2 or 3 times. It's excellent.
but that's what I kind of took. I am getting a little bit more money, but even the money that I'm getting, I'm not like obviously in comparison to like a luxury lifestyle. I'm not living like the most luxury lifestyle, but I'm happy and I'm doing what I love to do, and I know more money's gonna come as I get better at all these things.
Yeah,
I'm getting better at doing videos, editing. I'm getting better at teaching jujitsu. My clothing brand is improving. So as long as I'm just kind of smart with my lifestyle, I think I could live the way I'm living for the rest of my life, really.
and
Pretty
is
positive.
that so is that when you decide to get a face tattoo? When you're pretty sure that what you're doing is the right thing to do, and you're kind of like, "Fuck it, now I can get a face tattoo."
Yeah, what's funny is like I wasn't even I mean, yeah, for sure. When I got that tattoo, I'm like, okay, dude, I'm all in. Like, I mean, I've been all in, don't get me wrong, but yeah,
Yeah,
I've worked so many shitty jobs where it's like, bro, I'm never going back to call center, warehouse, retail, customer service, whatever. Like I've done it all. And it's like I'm never
yeah.
gonna go back to that.
What age are you? Just so people can have a bit of an idea.
What is what?
What age are you?
Oh, I'm 28. I turned 29 this year in July.
Okay, cool. And then so how did you end up? Did you meet Tim and Sean just through training then, or how did you end up actually videoing for them or doing their podcast? Because that's a pretty lucky break. Obviously, there's only one you, so there's only one
Mhm.
opportunity to be the person to produce their podcast. So you did pretty well to get there. So did you go to them with an idea, or did they just find you, or what was the story with that?
So I it's kind of crazy how it worked out. So years before I met Tim and Sean, I knew do you guys know Drakkar Close? He's in the UFC as well. He's a lightweight.
Yeah,
Um, so I've met
yeah,
Drakkar Close like years ago, like I want to say probably 3, 4 years ago, before I met Tim and Sean. Through a mutual friend just in the area. Like in Arizona, there's like everybody says it's like a mecca for fighting. So there was
yeah,
Drakkar. This was before Drakkar was in the UFC, and I had just done a video for him for a mutual friend, and he's just like, "Hey, Drakkar is going to be in the UFC. You should do videos." This was around the time when I was filming a lot of just promo stuff, commercial like mini commercials, freelance music videos, whatever. And I did this video kind of just out of a favor for my friend. At the time, I didn't know anything about fighting. I had no idea like what UFC was. Long story short, I met Drakkar, did that video for him, and years passed, like we didn't make anything of that. And I started training jujitsu, and I've always had Drakkar on like social media. He saw me training. Um, I clicked on his page. I'm like, oh, he's in the UFC now. Obviously, by this time, I'm probably like a year in of training jujitsu, and obviously, I started getting into like MMA stuff, like just seeing, I guess, jujitsu in the MMA world. And I just told Jakar, hey, if you need any more video work, I'm still doing videos. I would love to do videos for you in exchange for, I don't know, just a free membership to train. I didn't really care about getting paid. I just wanted to train at this time. Like I just wanted to get really good at jujitsu, and I started training at where Drakkar and Tim and Sean were at the lab, and I would just be there pretty often, taking pictures of Drakkar and videos, and all the fighters like just started talking to me. Everybody always wants like media for their Instagram. So a lot of them were just like, "Hey, like, what's your Instagram?" Like, send me videos, send me photos, just naturally. And Tim was one of them that came up to me. He's like, hey, if you send me pictures, like I'll tag you, whatever. I was like, yeah, sure, like of course.
Yeah.
And so I just had Tim on Instagram, and Tim saw me doing jujitsu, and he just said, as long as you take pictures for me and stuff like that, like you could come train with me like for free. Like, and in my head, this was around the time where I was like transitioning into like where I didn't want to work anymore. I was just like, I'm tired of working these 9 to 5s. And it just happened to work out where their current producer, she had quit on them. And this was before Timbo Sugar Show was, I guess, where it's at now. It was like literally just like episode 30. Like you could go back and look at our old episodes. They were just like off a shitty webcam and the audio was okay, but like, and they were just looking for a producer. They posted on Instagram. So the next day I saw them at the lab, and I just went up to them. I said, hey, do you still need a videographer, a producer? And they said, yeah, come by next week. And that's how I got the job with them. I just asked them, and I just kind of learned as I went, though, honestly, because I never did podcasts. I never did editing pods or like audio stuff or anything like that. But in my mind, I was like, well, I've done so many music videos. I've done other like stuff like that. I could figure it out on the go. And it just happened to work out. Like, 4 or 5 years later, like
It's
been
kind of
doing it
like a
with them.
right place, right time. Just
Exactly. It just happened to work out. It was pretty crazy, honestly.
And did you grow up in Arizona?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
are you
Born and
born in
raised.
Arizona?
Born and raised. Yep.
Yeah, cool. The yeah, it's pretty sick. It's a pretty interesting, like it's a pretty unique story, I guess, the way it's fallen for you. And then as well on the plus side of that, with like how do I word this? It could have easily been just a normal UFC fighter that you came across. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But you
yeah,
happened to
exactly.
come across basically one of the top probably 5 biggest stars to ever be in the UFC,
Yeah.
which obviously is huge, like, and that helps massively because Sean at the moment ranked number 1 bantamweight, fighting for the belt this year, and you've been with him far before he was ever ranked. So that could have
Yeah.
easily just been some guy who only had 3 fights in the UFC, lost all 3 of them, and then you know your career would have took such a different path as well at the same time. So the stars really aligned, I suppose. That worked out pretty well. Like the and what are your plans for the future then? What do you hope to do? Would your end goal be your clothing brand? Is that kind of your passion? That's the main thing.
Yeah, I would think so. I think as we're all evolving, me, Tim, and Sean, I think everybody's obviously Sean's like out of here, so it's like, but I think we always all obviously come together once a week, and we obviously all train jujitsu together, so I see them all the time. But as far as like our careers, or at least my goal is yeah, just to kind of keep getting better at everything that we're doing right now. Like I think Timbo Sugar Show is gonna keep getting bigger. For me, like I'm always working on my clothing brand. It's gonna keep getting bigger naturally, I feel. And jujitsu, like I want to be a really good jujitsu practitioner and teacher, and eventually I do see maybe in the next 5 years or so, having my own gym, and kind of like a hybrid gym of I could have like an art studio slash shop slash yeah, jujitsu gym. I think that's like kind of my bigger goal for the next like 5 years for sure. I think just growing in all those 3 areas, which I'm consistent in all those areas. I don't see it going anywhere but up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I was actually going to touch on that because that's something I've noticed, and just from, let's say, watching the other podcasts, and I've noticed one thing about you, and well, let's say we'll leave Sean out of it because he's obviously, he's a superstar at the moment. So we'll just
Mhm.
say with you and Tim, I've noticed consistency is huge for you, and it's something that you talk about a lot, and it's something you'd be trying to get into your other friends and some of the other guys, and you're always talking about it. Have you always been that way, or do you think being friends with these guys has helped you be consistent, or did you grow up like that? Were you always were you always good at sticking to your plans and sticking to routines, or what kind of way were you when you were younger?
I feel like when I was younger, I was lazy and just didn't have any kind of purpose in me, I feel. I
Yeah,
think a lot of like young men are like that, especially if you don't have any people to kind of guide you, which I never really did. Um, and I think what taught me that is jujitsu. I think whether I would be with Tim and Sean or not, I think jujitsu's taught me like you just have to keep showing up, and that's the only way you're gonna get better.
yeah,
Like that's the only way you're gonna just go up. And obviously having Tim and Sean there, it obviously is mainly Tim, right? Because he's my coach, and he's been like a mentor as far as in that world, as far as even seeing both of them where they are. They got there by being consistent. So I don't even have to ask any questions. You guys could see it. They obviously put in the time on the mats, and through that they were able to branch off to other businesses. But now that I see them both in other businesses, as far as like whether it's the podcast stuff, whether it's whatever it is, I've seen that it's not a secret that you just have to be consistent and kind of put effort. And that's what I'm kind of applying now to my stuff, with the product clothes. With now I'm doing the podcast, and same thing. Like I feel like I'm just a white belt all over again, especially in for me, like trying my go at my own YouTube page. Like I
yeah,
don't have obviously the same pull as them, but I'm building it slowly but surely, and even starting something new. I just started kickboxing. I've always just grappled, but now I'm looking to be new at things again. So, and I know, well, I got good at jujitsu. Not saying I'm the best, but I've gotten pretty good. Where it's like now I'm gonna apply that same mindset to these other areas of my life that I want to go up in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. It's pretty cool.
There's a lot of opportunities, especially kind of in the environment that you're in, like to expand like your mindset and what you want to go to next. Like any kind of idea that you get from the people that you're around, you definitely have access to be able to grasp at it, if that makes sense. Because of the people that you are surrounding yourselves with, they're all people that are on the up. They're all thinking positively, and as you said, they're all like consistent in what they're doing. So the people that you surround yourself with is definitely extremely important, and it probably helps you an awful lot in your mindset as well.
Yeah, I think so too. That's true, because if you're around like a bunch of lazy people, kind of, I feel like you're gonna be just like that as well. And yeah, I'm just grateful that I'm around like really like obviously successful people, not even just like on a star level, just really hardworking, like hardworking people. Even just my teammates in general, like they work their 9 to 5s, and then they come to the gym still grinding every day. So kind of for me, I still have days where it's like, I don't want to go train tonight. And it's like, I kind of was just lollygagging all day. And like, my teammates over here putting in 40 hours weeks, and they're still showing up every class almost, So it's like, I have no excuse but to show up.
Yeah, no,
Try to get
that's
comfortable.
cool. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was about to say. So you have to you're good at making yourselves uncomfortable. So you were talking about like starting kickboxing, which is obviously, for anyone who doesn't know, is extremely different to jiu-jitsu. Like it's the complete
Oh yeah.
opposite, really. Like so you've started doing that, and then your own YouTube page. I wanted to talk to you a bit about that. So how many subscribers are you on now? 700 or so?
I think close to 7. I think I'm at like 650, 660 or something like that.
And how many episodes have you done?
I've done 16. We just
Yes,
dropped our 16th episode this
sick.
today. So we've
So
been
is
trying
that,
to drop once a week.
yeah. And you're doing it with your housemate, is that right? Am I correct?
Yeah, yeah. It's one of my longtime buddies. Like we've been friends for I don't even remember since 2013, 14. So it's been a
Yeah.
while, and yeah, now we're roommates, and yeah, we're just grinding at it now.
No, that's sick. Well, we wish you the best of luck with that, and thank you very much for your time. Thank you for
Yeah,
coming
of
on.
course.
It was very cool to hear your story, because for me, okay, I know a lot of people probably don't watch, a lot of people that will watch this may not watch the other podcasts, but I feel like I've been watching them for like, I don't know how long is it, around 4 years, 5 years, or something like that.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've known who you are the whole time, but you're obviously behind the camera, so you don't say a whole lot. And I
Yeah.
feel like maybe in the last year or two, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like you've come out in yourself quite a bit. I've noticed in the podcast you're talking more than you
Hmm.
would have been maybe at the start. I don't know, you mic'd up now and you weren't in the past or something like that, but
Hmm.
no, it's pretty cool to see because your growth is obviously coming on behind the scenes, and
Yeah.
it's cool that even for the guys that you're with, that they are able to bring other people up around with them. Like Sean's done the same. He's invited like Twitch followers and all that kind of stuff over, and they're doing their thing in Arizona and all. So it's cool. You're building a real good big community there, and it's cool that people, that there's people out there helping other people grow, basically. But
Yep.
anyway, thank you very much. And what's your YouTube channel called again? Just I'm gonna link everything down below just for anyone who's interested. But
Yeah, so it's just gonna be J.X Soto. If you just YouTube J.X Soto, it should pop up. I think the
yeah,
hyperlink, it's I think there's a dot at the end, but if you just YouTube J.X Soto, my stuff should pop up. So how many times are you guys dropping your pod a week?
we
Or how
we
your guys' schedule?
we do it. We were consistent for about a year and a half. We were doing three
3
videos a
videos a
week,
week.
Mhm.
and
That's
but they weren't podcasts. We weren't doing podcasts. We were just doing like finance related videos 3 times a week, and then we let it slip pretty bad then for a while. So we're only getting back into it now. But I think three a week was a lot to be trying to do. Like, so we're trying to do like if we can do maybe 3 podcasts a month and then 3 videos a month,
Mhm.
extra videos or solo videos ourselves. That's kind of what we're hoping to do now from now on. We're going to rebrand a little bit, and we're moving away from kind of stocks and cryptocurrencies and more to just personal finance, and entrepreneurship is kind of the line we want to go down. I
Yeah.
think
Nice, nice.
I think we learned as we grown with stocks and stuff like that.
You're limited to what you can talk about or whatever, and it's just it only is interesting to a very niche amount of people that want to know about this sort of stuff. And it was more so just because it's like during like the COVID stuff, people were getting really into because everyone was like stuck at home doing nothing else but looking at this stuff. And that's kind of what we were doing. Like, so we're like, oh, people would be interested in this. But like after kind of stuff started opening back up, people had more time. I think people just kind of didn't really care anymore, wanted to spend their money and go on holidays and stuff. So you had to kind of change it to more to what people will watch. And also because we're in Ireland, we have centered a lot of stuff around what's actually happening here. Which they then videos do pretty well, like about the current kind of stuff that's actually going on in this country.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome. I like the whole like the business entrepreneur type vibe, you know. I'm always looking for those type of videos, you know. What advice would you guys give to like a small business owner like me?
That's it. That's what we are. Do you know what I mean? Because we're the same as you. We have our own company. We sell coffee, like a wholesale coffee
Oh,
company and
nice.
e-commerce coffee. So we sell coffee online and stuff like that. Like, but like the what we've learned, I think, is once you stop being consistent, it fucks it up basically. Like, and I think that's the simplest way to think about it. And I'm sure you already know that the you need to be consistent with what you're doing. And even if things aren't going well, as long as you're doing the right things, it will start to work out eventually. Like, one thing I found that was bad advice that we got off people was to stick at something even if it's not working. So I don't think that's the case. I think that's actually stupid. And people are like, oh, it will
Yeah.
start working eventually. But like,
You change your
you
mind,
know,
change course like pretty quickly if you realize something isn't working. It's kind of really more
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
common sense than what people give it credit for.
but what you're doing is good because like I wouldn't be as half as knowledgeable on fashion and stuff as you are, but I definitely show a bit of interest in it, and I notice like the supply and demand thing is definitely the way to go with fashion, and especially for you, as well as it being the, with the, obviously you have the orders in and the money beforehand, which is great for a small business owner, and most people don't have the opportunity to do that. The Like, I'm sure I assume in America it works the same as over here, but we've like for Nike we've the sneakers app, and
Mm-hmm.
the drops come in that, like, and that's basically what you're doing for the most part. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like a draw, like, and I never win the draw. You know what I mean? Like, how many times do you win the draw? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And
No, I've actually read that in I don't know if you guys read Contagious. I think it's by John Berger or something like that. It's called
no,
Contagious. he kind of break down like what makes stuff go viral or what makes like stuff hot or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm always looking to read marketing and kind of business type books, you know. I feel like I'm such a baby, you know, like I feel like it's at a good route where it's heading, but there's always room for growth, you know. But yeah, thanks for
Yeah.
having me on, boys.
Yeah. Thank you for coming. We really appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I do
Yeah, of
appreciate
course.
you. Thanks a lot. Take it
Cheers.
easy.
Thank you.
Later,
Bye
boys.
bye.
Bye.